Hey folks!
Hej allihopa!
Welcome to another video.
In today's video we are going to talk about things that we are reading and are excited for in 2021, which sounds like a fake year.
It's not a real year.
It's not real. Yes, mostly my books will be like new releases that are due to be released.
Yes, and most of my books will be books that I already own that I never got to, but that I'm hoping to get to soon.
Yeah, I mean, my whole bookshelf upstairs, if you watched our bookshelf tour, then you'll know how many books I have that I have to read.
Yes.
But that's irrelevant.
A problem for future tests.
Yes. So it's a whole long list. Let's scroll to the bottom, because that's when I added the first book.
Okay.
And it is Darling by Kay Ancrum. So it's a retelling of Peter Pan. There's loads of retellings of Peter Pan coming out next year. I don't know why people are so obsessed with Peter Pan.
It's the never-ending year.
Peter is kind of evil in the story, and it's kind of set in like modern day as well. It's like a dark retelling. And I think it's queer as well, which that's my jam. It's set in Chicago, and I think Peter like kind of try and get Wendy to like join him, and dark, mysterious, queer.
Mm-hmm.
All things good.
As I said, I am not reading books that will come out. I mean, I'm not saying I won't ever read any books.
No, you said it now.
But mostly I'll be reading books that I already own, which is partly due to my book buying habits from charity shops, and partly due to the fact that if I can't see a book in front of me, I'll forget it exists. So my first book is Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. This is the edition that he made on his deathbed. Poems that he chose that are in it are the ones that he did in the few months before he died, and I really want to read more queer poets.
The next one is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, who wrote one of my all-time favorite books, Red, White, and Royal Blue. And this is another queer new adult romance by them. This is a queer sapphic retelling of Kate and Leopold, you know, the movie with Meg Ryan.
No.
Anyway, it's a kind of retelling, like sapphic retelling of that movie, where the main character sees a woman on the subway and then realizes that this person is like lost in time because they're from like the 70s.
Oh.
So sounds good. I've heard really good things about it by people who've had the arc, and obviously Casey McQuiston with Red, White, and Blue cannot do anything wrong.
Having said that I want to read more queer people and people of color, my next book is by Thomas Hardy. So none of those things.
Lies.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his sexuality was. But I want to read Jude the Obscure. I've read quite a few. Well, I say quite a few. I read 3 of his other novels, and I also have read all of his poetry that is published. So I've heard this one is one of the big ones, and I just never got around to it. So I'm gonna check it out.
The next one, which I've been excited for quite a long time, is May the Best Man Win by C.R. Eller. And this is about a trans boy who goes up against his ex-boyfriend to become homecoming king. Is that what it's called? I'm not American, so I don't know any about this. And I guess love happens. Or something. I mean, I don't know. That's what I assume. But it sounds really good. The cover is so cute and beautiful. It just sounds really nice, and I'm really excited for it.
My next book is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. I really, really like her. I just want to see what it looks like. I really like her Seed to Harvest series, and I've also read Kindred, which I also really enjoyed. So I own this book and another book by her that I haven't gotten to yet, so I'm hoping to get there at some point this coming year.
The next one I want to read is She's Too Pretty to Burn by Wendy Hurd, which sounds like a sapphic kind of thriller set at like an art school or something, or like high school. The cover is, again, like, that's really what's helping me for most of these books. The cover is beautiful. It's been on my list for quite a long time. But yeah, it sounds like a thriller. I don't read a lot of thrillers as a general rule because I'm from Sweden and that's all that Sweden ever produces. So I'm not like, it's not my to-go-to genre. So, but this sounds pretty interesting. If anything is LGBT, I'm like, yes, let's add it. Add to cart.
My next book is The Secret Life of Oscar Wilde by Neil McKenna. Eagle-eyed viewers will have seen this in a previous video. I got it not that long ago, but I really like Oscar Wilde. He's in my like top 5 people of dead people that I would want to meet up with in real life. So definitely want to know more about him because everything's all very vague at the moment for me. But, yeah.
Yes. And that seems like a very big book, so you'll probably know everything.
Yes, I'll know everything. I mean, yeah.
And then I can borrow it and read it.
Yeah, like I read all of his works when I had pneumonia, and I was not fully in control of my faculties at that point. So it's all a bit hazy, but knowing more about him would be cool.
Yes. I've been to his grave in Paris.
Oh, yes.
And this was before they put up like a big glass dome around it.
Yes.
So we actually, me and my friend who I was with, we left like
Lipstick
kisses, yes. Which is what you should do.
Yes, he would love it also. He would be all over it.
Yes, but now they put up a big glass wall around it, I think. The next one that I'm looking forward to is called Witches Steeped in Gold by Cinnamon Smart. And this is a Jamaican-inspired fantasy. And it sounds really good. I think Joel from Fictional Fates got an arc and read it, and I think he really liked it.
Good.
So I was like, ooh, intrigued.
My next book is Black and British by David Olusoga. I kind of started this when I first got it a few years ago, and then, as always happens with me, I didn't finish it. But obviously it's a very important topic. It always is, but recent events have brought it to the fore again. So I wanted to commit to finishing it this time and learn more about all of the terrible, terrible things that Britain has done to all of the people that are not British, basically.
So the next book I want to read is called The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. And this is the 4th book in the Truly Devious series. The murder mystery was solved in the 3rd book, so this is like a new book in the series. But so I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's basically set at a different location. So I think the main character, because of what happened in the previous book, get kind of roped into solving another mystery at like a camp site or a summer camp place. But yeah, it sounds really interesting. I love the Truly Devious series. They're so well written. It's a thriller that I like. I think it's also because it's like YA, so it's a bit more like not realistic, but like it's just more to my taste, I guess. So I'm really excited for this. When I saw the announcement, I was like, oh wait, stop! She's writing another book in the series. Oh my god.
My next book is Lines of Life, 101 poems by 101 women. I really do want to make more of an effort to read poetry by women. It can be quite difficult to find them because there's like, in any anthology of 20th century poetry, there will be probably 50 poets and 2 or 3 women among them, which is terrible, shouldn't happen, but it does mean that it's hard to find other women whose poetry you might enjoy. So this book might help. We'll see.
The next book I want to read is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the 3rd book in the Brown Sister series. The 2 previous one was Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and...
Take a hint, Danny Brown.
Oh my god, you know the title!
I have not read these.
Yes, you haven't read
No.
the books, but I haven't talked about them. I have some issues with them. I know people give them like 5 stars, and I mean, I enjoy reading them, but I don't know, I'm not as hyped as everyone else. But I'm still looking forward to the third book. It sounds like an enemies to lovers kind of situation where, so this is the younger sister out of the 3, and she seems a bit like she doesn't really know what she wants to do, and then she gets a job at a bed and breakfast because she like, I don't know, injures the manager or something, or the owner, and he's like, I guess you can work it. I don't really know. That's just what I've gotten from the synopsis. And then I guess they don't really get along, but then love happens anyway. I mean, that's what I assume because of what happens in the other 2 books. They're really fun books generally, and I do think that like Talia Hibbert adds like some more depth to the character, especially in the second one, the like love interest to the main brown sister has like a lot of like mental health issues, which is like realistic and adds like more depth to like a man, because usually if usually they don't ever have like any issues. They're like, you know, because men don't talk about their problems or whatever, but in that one it was really well done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the third one. The cover is again very pretty and to my taste.
My next book is a chapbook by Dean Acta called I'm Nobody's Nigger. We both read The Black Flamingo by Dean Acta, and we both really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And I do own this, and I hadn't read it yet, so I thought I can get it now, and I can lend it to you as well if you want to read.
Please. I think he's coming out with a new book soon.
Yes, I keep seeing his name
floating around.
Yeah, but if I can't see it immediately in front of me, I'll immediately forget that it exists.
Yes, only on the weekends.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
due out in August. No cover yet. The next book that I'm really looking forward to, and this I found by coincidence. I don't know, I just saw it like randomly. Anyway, it's called In Deep Waters, and it's written by F.T. Lukens, and it's basically a fantasy. It's like pirates and like fantasy creatures, and this main character is like gets kidnapped. But yeah, it's about magic and pirates, and it's queer, which is the most important bit of all of this. This is one of my most anticipated reads. I was like, this one, May the Best Man Win, is like top tier. Need to read them as soon as I get them in my hands. It's like described as Gentleman's Guide meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
Those two combined, yes, we love it.
My next book is Trans Voices. I think it's edited by Declan Henry, and it's a collection of short essays by trans people about their experiences. And while I do know a lot of trans people, it's nice to actually read things that trans people have written as well.
Yes.
And hear about the kind of different experiences that they have. I don't know if it's UK focused or not, but we will see.
It would be nice if it's like from around the world.
It would be nice, but I don't
Unlikely.
think you can hope that much.
The next one I am really excited for is The Showstone and the Beautiful by Nyi Wo. It takes place there in the 1920s, and it's the main character is is queer, Asian, and adopted, and it's like about her experiences being these things. But I think it has like magic. I am sure I've read somewhere that it has magic as well. Oh yes, she's a magician. Yes, it just sounds really interesting with all of these things combined. And then I have read that someone's like, this is kind of feels like a Great Gatsby, but like with magic and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. The cover again, beautiful. Good job, everyone who's done the covers in 2021.
My next book is Religion in Human Evolution by Robert Bellah. This is a book that my dad recommended to me. I have an academic interest in religion and like especially Christianity. I like to read about the foundations, the beginnings, and he read this during quarantine and then immediately sent me a copy as well. So now I have this copy, and he keeps asking me if I've read it yet, so I'm just going to read it so I can talk to him about it. No, I am interested in the subject. It's just quite a big, thick book, so I'm just a little worried.
The next book I want to read is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker-Chan. And this has been described as Mulan meets The Song of Achilles. It sounds really good. And it's queer. And it's like, it sounds like a big kind of epic fantasy set in like China during 1345. And it sounds like this is like the first book in a series as well. And the cover's really good as well. It looks, when I see the cover as someone who used to work in a bookshop, it kind of definitely sets the tone of like an epic fantasy, but probably a bit more interesting than Game of Thrones.
My final book that I am going to hope to commit to reading this year is Why Can the Dead Do Such Great Things by Robert Bartlett. There's a lot of Roberts.
It's a popular name in that age group, I guess.
That's true. Anyway, so this is about saints and worship and martyrdom in Christianity and Christian tradition. This is also a book that my dad recommended to me because he knows I really like saints. I've had this for several years, but it's so big. It is beautiful though. I love how gold it is. But the inside is shiny, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. I just haven't got around to it because big books scare me. I own many of them, but I'm always worried about starting them.
They are intimidating, but it's like once you've conquered a big book,
you feel so good.
Yes, it's like you could read anything. The next book I want to read is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. She wrote Beach Read, which I read this year as well, or listened to in an audiobook. I really liked that one. I thought it had a lot of depth that a lot of romance books don't have, and like both characters had a lot of baggage that they kind of had to work through before they decided to kind of commit to each other, I guess. So I'm hoping that her new romance book will have the same. And it's basically about two best friends, and then something happened like a few years before the start of the book, and they don't really talk to each other anymore, and then the main character wants to kind of become friends again or something more. I mean, when it comes to romance books, you can only guess what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it sounds like it's like a best friends to lovers situation, but they're not really best friends at the start of the book. Nice. So mainly what I want to do in my quick one is talk about books by more like big famous authors, even though I mentioned a few of them already. Well, the first one is Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard, which is the fourth book in the Witchland series. And I read the two first books and the novella. I'm still due to read the third book. But I really like this series. It has a big, good like world building that's like really, really good. And the characters are really interesting, and there's like multiple characters. They're queer characters, the characters of color. It has like interesting politics as well. Obviously, I don't know what's gonna happen in it. I don't really want to read the synopsis because I haven't read the third book yet. But it's just a continuation, so yes, amazing. Next book is The Rule of Wolves, which is the second book in the King of Scars duology by Liber Dugo, and this duology follows Nicolaj, who is in the Grisha trilogy. It's very confusing. I didn't really like King of Scars that much. I thought it was a bit, not confusing, but it was a bit like meh. But obviously I'm going to read the second one. I love the Grisha verse. I love Liber Dugo. I do like Nicolaj. I love Nina, who's in it as well, who we know from Six of Crows. Because obviously I want to know what happens. And the next book is Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which is the new series set in the world of Acta, or A Court of Thorns and Roses. And this follows Feyre's sister Nesta and Cassian, who's the best friend of Reese. Reese. I don't know how to pronounce any of these names.
Probably Reese.
Yeah. Love it. It's gotta be trash, but I love trash. Avatar is my guilty pleasure. I absolutely love those books. What I will say what's good about Sarah J. Maas, at least from what I remembered when I read the books, was that she was really good at doing cliffhangers. I really like keeping the story and the momentum of the story. We have Heartstopper Volume 4 coming out by Alice Oseman. I read it online, so I'm kind of up to date. But I love getting them in paperback, and I usually try to get the signed copies that have a little doodle in them. And that's it. That was my quick round. That wasn't very quick round, sorry.
Let us know what you're looking forward to reading this coming year. Are you interested in some of the books we have? Do you have suggestions for us?
Anything queer POC?
Yeah.
In the comments, please.
Yes. Please.
Click like and subscribe. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. The Goodreads is still not up to date, but we are Tessa Norland everywhere on those places. So if you want to follow us, please do.
Yes. And we look forward to seeing you here.
We do. Okay. Hej då!
Bye!